What's up, everybody? So today I want to talk to you about how I transitioned from being your prison tattoo artist to your street tattoo artist. If y'all have not watched my first video on how I started tattooing in prison, go ahead and check that one out. It's the video I made right before this one. But to understand this one, you might have to check out that one. Or you can just watch this one and check that one out later. Anyway, let's get into this thing. Okay, so as I got more confident in tattooing, as my drawing got better, as my skills improved, as I just felt like I was more than just a prison tattooer, and this journey that I was on could potentially be my career in the free world. In my mind, I haven't even really thought about the free world in years. When you're back there in prison, sometimes the best thing you can do is forget all about the street. Focus on exactly what you have to do in the moment and live inside this prison. However, for me, I realized that's also the quickest way you can become institutionalized. You got to remember there's a world out there. The world that you're seeing back here in prison is not the real world. It's a small world. It's not a pleasant world. It will distort your view on the rest of it. So there came a time where I decided I'm going to become a tattoo artist. I'm going to put my all into this thing. How am I going to figure out how to do this on the street? And the answer to this is a lot of my inspiration came from right here on YouTube. I used to look at videos on, how to approach a tattoo shop when you're looking for an apprenticeship. How to properly set up and break down a tattoo station. Everything I knew was how to do those things in prison. However, the problem is, the way you do things in prison is much different from the way you do things on the street. You have to work with what you have back there. On the street, you're expected to break down and set up and take care of business like a professional person would on the street. Me, when I came home, I was almost 32 years old. I was not willing to go back into a shop and start as an apprentice from the beginning. It was just I just couldn't do it. I got bills to pay. I'm a grown man. I'm on my own. I need money. Plus, I knew my skills were good enough. I'd looked at a lot of the shops out there on the street, and I realized that a lot of my tattoos were better than the tattoos that they were doing in the free world. As I'm sure a lot of y'all know, in prison, you can pretty much get whatever it is that you want to get your hands on if you have the money to get it. For almost the entire time, I had a cell phone or I had access to a cell phone. I decided what I'm going to do. It's kind of risky, but I'm going to make an Instagram page, and I'm going to start posting my drawings first of all, and then I'm going to start posting my tattoos. And I'm going to try to get my name out there. Of course, the main thing I had to do was block off the faces of the people that I was tattooing. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but I'm willing to take the risk of getting myself in trouble, so when I get out, I will have a name for myself. Getting on social media was a way that I could get people to see the stuff I was making behind these walls and these razor wire fences, and get them in front of the eyes of people in the free world. Yeah, it's great to be a prison tattooer, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be here. I'm not going to be here forever. To my surprise, when I started posting my drawings, they just blew up almost automatically. I got a pretty big following, and I strategically started following shops in the town that I was going to when I got out, and I would comment on a lot of the artists' posts. That way they'd see my name, and if they didn't know who I was, eventually, most of the times, they would follow me back. I kind of developed this relationship with a lot of the artists in town over social media. To me, as a person, I'm a very personable guy. I think the best way to do things, if you have the ability, is walk straight into these tattoo shops and meet people in person. However, I didn't have that option. I started building relationships with a lot of the tattoo community on social media before I came home, so everybody kind of knew who I was. Being that I learned to tattoo in prison, I had this feeling that I wasn't going to be able to tattoo on the street and nobody was going to take me seriously. To my surprise, I applied at the 3 best tattoo shops in town. Every single one of them said that they would love to have me. And this was just, to me, it was very validating because I had professionals that have been working in the industry that I was hoping to break into, telling me that I was pretty much one of them. So I think tattooing especially, and it's probably a lot harder in other industries, but tattooing has historically been the industry of the misfits, the industry of the outcasts. It was easy for me to break in. Okay, so as I said, I built relationships with a lot of the shops in town while I was gone, and I realized that I needed to be up front and tell them that I was incarcerated, just to put everything out on the table. And I knew that some people probably wouldn't accept it, but I felt like it was my duty just to stay honest. So I told them about where I was at, and to my surprise, to them it was no big deal. You know, they were shocked that that's where I was at and they couldn't believe it at first, but in the long run, I think it served me very good that I showed that honesty right up front. So anyway, let's fast forward a little bit. Here comes the time where I'm about to get released. At this point, I have over 10,000 followers on Instagram. I have several clients lined up to get tattooed. I don't have specific dates for them, but they're waiting to get scheduled once I get into town. I have become a good enough tattoo artist that I know that I can tattoo on the street. I built relationships in the tattoo community, so when I come to town, I'm not a stranger. And it's time to go home. I'm gonna make a whole nother video on getting out and the emotions and the shocks and all that kind of stuff, but the way it went when I came home. Okay, so when I came home the first day, I had one of my best friends in town, and he let me do a big old tattoo on him. So the first day I came home, I did this tattoo and I spent a lot of time on it, and I really loved how it turned out. This was strategic because when I went to these shops to apply in person and go talk to the shops, I had him come with me, and I was able to show off not just pictures, but a brand new fresh tattoo that I just did, and I was super proud of it. And to my surprise, everybody at the shop their jaws dropped, and they were just super stoked about it. So the first shop I went into, I just didn't get the best vibes, and it seemed like it just wasn't the place for me. I got vibes that maybe it was possibly not conducive to the person that I had become. I didn't want to slip into bad habits, and you know, everybody lives their own life, and I'm definitely not one to judge, but I have to keep myself away from certain situations that could get me back in trouble. So I decided that wasn't it. Second shop I went to, it was one of these like high-end, like boutique type bougie ass shops. They had no art on the walls. It was just gray walls and no music playing or anything, and there were some really good artists in there, but it just wasn't my fit. Third shop I went to, I walked in and it was a feeling. The people looked me in the eye when I talked to them. Every single person that I met that day are still good friends of mine today, and I just knew that this was the place for me. At the end, we met, we went to the bar, we had a beer, had a bite to eat, and talked a little bit, got to know each other. At the end of that day, he came to me, the shop owner, and he said, "You know what, brother? If you want to have a job, you got it here." And he laid out the expectations for me, and I said, "Damn right, I'll take it." Let's look at the timeline. I get out the first day. I tattoo my friend. Second day, I apply at this tattoo shop. I have a job. He says, when can you start? I said, as soon as I get my tattoo permit. The third day, I came in, the health department was there, checked all my stuff. I got permitted to tattoo. The next day, I have someone come in and I am now a professional tattoo artist. Let me tell you, being incarcerated for so many years, you come out and you are shell-shocked. You don't know exactly what's going on. You can prepare yourself all that you want, but things are just so different. Things feel so different than where you've been. You're trying to let your guard down, but you've had your guard up for so long that it's hard to pretend like you're a normal person. For me, I went in and I knew that I had to. Yes, I was anxious. Yes, I was freaking out. Yes, I was having panic attacks. But I had to push on through because this was my dream and I had to see it realized. Yeah, okay, so first tattoo, bam. Drew it up. I was nervous, but I pushed through. Turned out to be a great tattoo. Everybody in the shop loved it. Shop owner said, damn bro, I'm glad I got you. Welcome to the team. Let's do this thing. So now I am a real licensed professional tattoo artist at this point. I've been out for 3 or 4 days. I've now done the work. I've showed it. I've executed my tattoo, and it's a success. Now it's holding on and continuing this every day, staying determined, not falling off, not letting my feelings get the best of me, not letting my emotions skew up my head and screw up my plan. And I am laser focused at this point. My dream has become realized and I am going to be successful. Okay guys, so this is a kind of shorter video, but I want to break all this down. A lot of times I'm talking and I'm telling my story not only to you, but to myself and trying to make sense of this crazy life that I've had. I appreciate every one of y'all. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you later.